2 bars of 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
He was running, and the wind caught in his clothes as he was running. There was no doubt in his mind he'd get to soar, but they put him at the bar so free and climb. But that dread fear in his eyes as he was running, and the manning crowd in chase angry.
Yes, there's certainly a theme that runs through this album. In an artistically abstract way, I felt like I was coming into a period of taking full ownership of the African in my background. I suddenly started to feel like there was an imbalance of some sort, that subconsciously I'd responded more to Western music more than I had to African music, even though it was the music of my formative years.
Before the day I opened my eyes, I saw all that seeing candy skies.
Through a process other than contrived, I started to find all of these songs again. My mum and dad came to stay with me on holiday, and you know, just being around them put me back in that mood, in that state of mind, in a Nigerian Yoruba music state of mind. And I started listening to those rhythms again. In fact, I started researching and exploring a lot of those rhythms and those melodies and those sounds, and I started to seek out this music that had a slightly more folkloric tone and, to it, a texture to it. I seem to have found a way of parlaying all of those interests that I had in Afrobeat and high life and juju and akbala. And so a lot of the songs on this album seem to lean in that direction. They seem to be heading towards discussing stories about us and our human connection. They're beyond maybe what I would have pursued in the past. I mean, I do stray sometimes towards Latin American rhythms, but only as a result of presuming that the inspiration I was pursuing was an African one, and then discovering maybe in some ironic way whatever it is that links African and Latin American music through the song. So, you know, it was a process of re-education as much as anything else.
Tender words through the falls come from lips that betray. Waiting where dreams sleep, beaten down, dead and pulse from a canny embrace.
The album's called It's the Peace That Deafens because I was contemplating what it takes to avert great injustice or oppression or you know, any of the instability that the world faces. Maybe in part it comes from the fact that we're expected to pursue professions and imagine our lives as highly successful conformists. And we were told that rocking the boat was for other people, but I realized that that piece creates this vacuum and reiterated constantly in my mind this notion of for evil things to happen, good men only need to keep silent. That peace that people just try to exist in and try to survive is a more ephemeral peace than the kind of peace that is won through confronting great evil. Once I'd written the song, it became clear to me that this was the title piece of the album, even though it's maybe probably not the most obvious lead song, but it certainly was the idea that I thought was the one that encompassed most of the ideas on the album. to what people are saying, and if they, almost everyone has some immensely profound pearl of wisdom that they've honed, which sometimes tends to be their single message. If you hang around with them long enough, you'll hear them say the same things over and over again, but they're usually very, very powerful, and they're usually learnt through personal experience and pain, great trial and tribulation. So I glean all those ideas, I write them down, I jot them down in a notepad, and they'll, as you know, the tension and the pressure mounts to write an album, I start to bring all these ideas together, and some of them immediately jump off the page, usually arrive with at least a sketch melody that I'll then flesh out. Other ideas start life because I strum with my guitar or noodling around on the piano or something, but the greater number of ideas just come from being around people and having them spark my imagination and inspire me in some way, shape or form.
Got this riddle running round my mind, tangle puzzle that I can't unwind.
As long as artists have a platform and they feel that their expression is there in the ether, I think all the other considerations tend to be someone else's, actually, about, you know, how big it is and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, my main obsession is that I can continue to do it and take it as far afield as you know, as is possible. It would be great if it were easier, but I'm not prepared to wait for easy to come round, just in case it never does.
Soon even they will be long gone.
The most important thing is that I continue to have the opportunity to do this with my life. It's just such an incredible thing. So that essentially is all I'm prepared to say I aspire to.
Now her eyes see just certainties where is wine, senses bow, candle is size for tediums ebb and flow. Time can't breathe for good or better. Shadows dancing, wasps of never quench this thirst for beaming eyes. So